Look at a map of the world, not just as shapes and names, but as the blueprint of global power. The mountains, rivers, and seas you see are the barriers and highways that have shaped empires for centuries. Why do some nations rise while others fall? The answer is written in the land itself. Geopolitics is the master key that unlocks the logic behind the news, revealing why leaders make the choices they do. It's the study of how geography shapes the ambitions and strategies of nations. These are not random decisions, they are cold calculations based on the facts of the map. When you grasp geopolitics, the news becomes a series of moves and countermoves on a global chessboard. This is not a story of good versus evil, but of interests, constraints, and the relentless dance between ambition and geography. Let's explore the core principles that drive the world. Geopolitics stands on three pillars: geography, power, and strategy. Geography is the unchangeable stage, mountains, rivers, and coastlines that define a nation's possibilities and limits. Power is a nation's ability to achieve its goals, whether through military, economic, or cultural means. Strategy is the plan, a leader's blueprint for using power to navigate geographic realities. Together, these elements form the logic of international relations. Geography presents problems and opportunities. Power provides the means to act. Strategy is the plan to do so. Take Russia. Its flat plains are hard to defend, so it seeks buffer zones and warm water ports. Geography, power, strategy, this is the brutal calculus that drives the world. Every nation plays by these rules. Let's see how geography shapes nations. Russia's vast size is both strength and curse. Its heartland is exposed and its ports are often frozen. This vulnerability drives its push for buffer states and access to warm seas, making Ukraine a strategic prize. The United States, shielded by oceans and blessed with navigable rivers, enjoys security and prosperity, allowing it to project power globally. America's strategy: dominate the seas, control trade, and prevent rivals from rising. China, once a land power, now depends on maritime trade. Most of its oil passes through the vulnerable Strait of Malacca. To break free, China builds a navy and militarizes the South China Sea, directly challenging U.S. dominance. India, protected by the Himalayas, faces rivalry with Pakistan and a tense border with China. It's imperative to control the Indian Ocean and manage complex neighbors. Geography locks each nation into its own set of challenges and ambitions. The map is destiny. Every move is shaped by the land beneath their feet. The world is shaped by a few great powers, each vying for advantage. The US and China are locked in a defining rivalry. America seeks to maintain its global order. China aims to reshape it. US power rests on geography, a strong economy, and unmatched naval strength. Its strategy: maintain alliances, control choke points, and contain rivals. China's rapid growth funds military modernization and global infrastructure projects like the Belt and Road. Its weakness: vulnerable sea lanes and wary neighbors. Russia, though economically weaker, wields nuclear power and energy resources. Its strategy: disrupt Western unity, secure its borders, and use asymmetric tactics. These superpowers compete relentlessly, each constrained and driven by geography. Alliances shift, but the logic remains. The game is about survival and dominance. Why do nations fight? Often war is a calculated move, not chaos. Strategic territory is a common trigger, land that offers defense, resources, or access to trade. Russia's invasion of Ukraine aimed to secure a buffer and control the Black Sea. Fear of rising rivals, the Thucydides trap, can push powers into conflict, as seen in US-China tensions over Taiwan. Resource competition, energy, water, minerals, fuels proxy wars and alliances. Nationalism and internal politics can also drive leaders to war, rallying populations and distracting from domestic troubles. These triggers, territory, fear, resources, and nationalism, are timeless sparks for conflict. War, in geopolitics, is often brutally logical. Beyond the superpowers, other players shape the global chessboard. The European Union is an economic giant but lacks unified military power, often slow to act. The UK, post-Brexit, leverages its maritime strength and alliances, but its ambitions are limited by size. The global south, rising nations like India, Brazil, Turkey, and Saudi Arabia, pursue their own interests, refusing to be pawns. India, a demographic powerhouse, seeks strategic autonomy, balancing between the US and China. These middle powers exploit superpower competition to their advantage. The world is now multipolar and complex. Regional powers form their own alliances and shape their destinies. The board is crowded and every player has a unique hand. The era of a few dominant powers is over. The world's most dangerous flashpoints are where great powers collide. Taiwan is the most volatile. China sees it as a must-have. The US is a red line. A conflict here could trigger war between nuclear giants. The South China Sea is another hotspot. China's island building clashes with US freedom of navigation, risking accidental escalation. In Eastern Europe, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has shattered security, and any attack on NATO's Baltic members could spark a global war. Kaliningrad, Russia's militarized exclave, adds to the tension. The India-China border in the Himalayas is a high-altitude powder keg. Skirmishes could spiral into disaster. These are the world's fault lines where history, geography, and ambition collide. A single misstep could ignite catastrophe. The stakes are global. The world holds its breath at these flashpoints. The map is alive with tension. Conflict is evolving. Wars are now fought without bullets. Economic warfare, sanctions, tariffs, and financial controls cripple economies without firing a shot. The US uses the dollar as a weapon. Rivals build alternatives to escape its reach. Cyber warfare is constant. Hacks can paralyze infrastructure and steal secrets, blurring lines between crime and war. A major cyber attack could trigger real-world conflict. Information warfare, propaganda, disinformation, and social media manipulation divide societies and weakens rivals from within. Russia excels here, but others are catching up. Space is the new frontier. Satellites are vital, and anti-satellite weapons threaten to turn orbit into a battlefield. A war in space could cripple modern life and trap us on Earth. These new battlefields define 21st century geopolitics. The struggle for power is everywhere, even where we can't see it. The world runs on the logic of geopolitics, not ideals. Headlines are the surface tremors of deep, slow-moving forces, geography, power, and strategy. The great struggles of our era are about nations seeking advantage, not good versus evil. The tools of competition evolve, sanctions, cyber attacks, satellites, but the game remains the same. Understanding geopolitics means seeing the world as it is, a competitive arena of self-interested states, each shaped by its geography. The rules are eternal, the players change. Only by understanding these drivers can we navigate the turbulent decades ahead. The map is the ultimate power.